Hi everyone. How's it going? I'm so hungry right now. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. I'm hungry and I'm tired. But I had to get this video out because a lot of things have happened since Pauline Cheung's interview. And to give you some context, I'm going to walk it back, okay? The most recent part of some street theatre that I have observed came in the form of two couples. One was older with a woman that had like a blonde bob. It was very sharply cut. And there was another who had who had red hair. There was a younger couple with one of them clearly being drunk and the other one having red hair, clearly out of it. Okay, so both couples were out of it. And it was usually a man leading a woman. Now, what I noticed about both these couples were, with the older couple, the blonde woman looked extremely sad and extremely ashamed of something, or like she had been led into something that she didn't want to do. And both her and the guy were in the bathroom for an extended period of time. I don't know what they were doing, right? But they looked, it didn't look good, right? And then there was another couple that came in that same carriage. Like, again, it was a guy and a girl. The guy was leading with a drink in his hand and the girl was following him, and she looked out of it. She looked relatively young as well. So it was an older couple and a younger couple. And what they both these couples had in common was that the man was leading and the woman seemed to either be vulnerable in the case of the older couple or completely out of it in the case of the younger couple, right? And the way I interpreted that, because there was no way that was a coincidence, the way I interpreted that was, yeah, we've been trafficking women right in front of your face. Yes, we have been doing that. No, we don't give a fuck. And you ain't about to do shit either. And this is the thing about it. They're right. I wasn't about to do shit. You know why I wasn't about to do anything? Because first of all, as a targeted individual and as a blacklisted person, if I was to call the police and say that, something wasn't right with those women, or like they didn't look well taken care of, or they didn't seem happy. If I was to go to the police or go to anybody with any suspicions that I'd raised, the best case scenario is that they would have just written me off as crazy and not taken me seriously. That would have been the best case scenario, right? The best case scenario would have been, I would have reported it to police. Police wouldn't have done shit. And, and thus the women wouldn't have been even harmed even worse than they already were. The second scenario that could have happened is the women themselves could have been coerced into saying, no, the man didn't do anything to me. She's crazy. And then, the man would have done something to her. Or what would have been even worse is that, like I would have reported it, or the woman would have backed me up, but nothing would have been done anyway, and the woman would have been stuck. So because I'm a targeted individual, when it comes to actual trafficking victims right in front of me, even if it's really evident, even if it looks that way, even if it looks like these women are stuck in an abusive situation, even if I wanted to fucking do something, I have to think about what the results would be for the women or for the abuse victims. If I do anything directly, again, at best, something would happen to me. And that's a best case scenario. The worst case scenario is something happens to me and the victims because I fucking raised the alarm and said something. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the gang stalkers via these couples were not only flaunting what they had done to Pauline in front of me, they were making clear, yeah, you ain't about to fucking do shit. Bragging and saying that I'm not going to do shit. Because they know by blacklisting me, they've got me in a pincer movement already. I'm not influential enough to talk to police and say, this is what's being done to someone else. I'm not influential enough to do that. I've already been blacklisted. On top of that, marginalized person. The police are far right. The country is far right. Ain't no way. Okay. So that's the first thing. So that was the first bit of street theater that's the most recent, which truth be told was really disturbing to me because it just revealed the ugliness of the situation right in front of me. It was very clear to me that I was dealing with a different breed of gang stalker from now on. Okay. The second thing is going backwards, right? I finally caught my dad's dickhead neighbors out. It felt so fucking good. Listen, and would you believe these people did the same thing that Emma Logan and her family did? They played their music at a really obnoxious level to stop me from being quiet or stop me napping so that I'd start shouting, yelling my head off or talking to myself so that they can turn around and and say, what did we do? We didn't do anything wrong. So this stupid bitch that my dad has for a neighbor decided to play calypso really, really loudly with the words wake up or get up in it, right? Repeatedly at a really obnoxious volume until I got my phone out and started recording on the live. That's when she cut the music off briefly. And like I explained in the video, there were aircraft flying overhead using directed energy weapons on me. So the idea was to anger me to death or frighten me to death whilst engaging in sleep deprivation. So yes, this neighbor was trying to kill me and she get fucking catch. Yeah. Like the hollow piece of shit she is. Right. So very satisfying. Very, very satisfying. Got caught out. All that. Yeah. So yeah, but I have to admit, right, the music was louder than normal. Ever since me and Pauline agreed to do this interview and started making arrangements, the gang stalking had been getting really, really belligerent and violent anyway. But the fact that my dad's neighbor was so obnoxious and like so obnoxious to the point of getting herself caught out, satisfying as hell. I wanted to do it again. And hear this bitch now that she's been caught out, now she's talking about, she used the word killing. That was the word she used. And then some other dickhead over the phone, I don't know who this was, but some other dickhead over the phone was basically dick riding her, saying, oh, the way you've got to frame it is that you were afraid, because that's what this woman does. This woman does the same thing that Emma Logan does. Play on her vulnerability, play on her motherhood, play on her femininity to talk her way out of being accountable for the shit that she's actually done. Only it's not going to work this time because there's evidence that both this mother and the other mother have done the same shit in exactly the same way. So not only did this bitch play loud music for me to hear, knowing that I was trying to nap, obnoxiously loud for no reason other than to try to get me upset, now she understands the severity of what she's involved in. And of course she doesn't give a fuck about that. Of course she doesn't give a fuck about the fact that she's involved in attempted murder. Of course the only thing she gives a fuck about is how it looks to my dad. Because what she wants to be able to do is she wants to be able to turn my dad against me. I mean, hey, my dad hasn't had an argument with her before, so I don't know, man, but that was her hopes. Every single time she gets caught out doing something she's not supposed to be doing, and every time she fears karma will bite her in her flabby, saggy fucking ass, now comes, oh, I've got to run to, I'm not going to say my dad's name here, but I've got to run to him and tell him that she's this and she's that, and like try to turn him against her. Every single time. What a hollow bitch. Glad she was caught out. I wanted to do that shit again the next time I'm over there. Catch yourself out again. You have no idea how satisfying that was. I was a changed woman from that time. I was a changed woman from that time, boy. Woo! So yes, that was like should I say the second incident, the second most recent incident from the like trafficking street theater that went on. So that was the second, most recent example. Going back a little bit further. Yeah, there was, I mean, whilst I was in London, whilst I was in Harlesden, there was all kinds of like imitations of me, like singing and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, if you want to act weird, that's up to you. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. But then going back, to the next recent example. So like people acting like nutbags around Harlesden trying to impersonate me. Like that's nothing new. Go back to the fourth most recent examples, right? This goes back to after I interviewed Pauline in Bexley Heath that night. So after I got the train to London Victoria, and as I was on my way to Harlesden, right? There were a few weird occasions that happened, right? The first thing happened when I got to London Victoria. First of all, there was a perp basically saying, no, stop, and like in a mocking sort of gesture. So the gang stalkers basically asked this perp to mimic rape audibly mimic rape, right? Basically bragging about what they did to Pauline. They don't give a fuck about what they did to Pauline. So audibly mimicking rape. And then as I'm buying a ticket, there's a homeless guy, like a bit away from me, but facing me, saying something like, oh, she feels good about herself now because she's exposing pedophiles. I thought, all right, cool. And then it got even weirder, like some fucking, like just these weird ass people, like with really sticky, grimy energy on the train, was talking loudly about going to Harlesden. And there was this one like stringy blonde in particular, like just really sticky energy, like tar-like energy, talking about going to Harlesden. And they got off at the same stop that I did. I don't know if that was intentional, but I feel like it was intentional. And I feel like it was supposed to try to unsettle me in some way. Do you know what I mean? Lots of examples like that. So it was an attempt to unsettle me more than usual, which has been happening ever since I have been discussing with Pauline about the interview that we were going to do, because we discussed it for like a couple of months now that we were going to do this. So there was that. Those were like the fourth most recent examples of gang stalking, after the interview with Pauline. That was just after my interview with Pauline, traveling from London, Victoria to Willesden Junction. Before I was interviewing Pauline, just before, when I was on my way to Bexley Heath, right? I got like, when I woke up in Brighton, right? I got a pain right here on my left shoulder blade, right here. It was a pain that went from here down to there. So obviously some weapons had been fired on me during the night, and it wasn't like a quick thing. It was like a slow burn thing that had been intensified as I was sleeping. So when I woke up, that part of my body was stiff. I order a cab. There's a cabbie that has that same injury. I was like, ow, ow. And she's basically saying she had the same injury and that it was cold. Fuck off. Fuck off. It wasn't a change in the weather. That's not what that was. And you know how I know that? Because when I went to Somerset, when I was traveling to Somerset, it, like, you should see it either on Empress Justice Tarot or Empress Marsha the Great on Instagram. There was this big weld right here where weapons had been fired on my jaw, right? And when I went to Victoria Station to try to get that shit sorted out, well, I didn't try to get that shit sorted out. What am I talking about? When I went to Victoria Station to change stations, there was some squat blonde woman with a pock-marked face who had that same injury and was talking about her mother, because my mother had I can't remember what year that was. I went to Somerset. I think it was before mum died, actually, that I went to Somerset. I think that was 2023 when I went down there. So yeah, so like it was just some pockmarked dickhead talking about like her mum and stuff like that. And she's got like a swelling, like here, same swelling, same as me. So fast forward to just before I'm getting to that interview. I'm getting pain in the same place that she got that pain. And she's talking about a change in the weather. It wasn't a change in the weather. It was weapons. In my particular case, can the cold make it worse? Yeah, of course it can make it worse. But it was actually weapons that were fired in a particular part of my body to cause me enough pain. And the point of that was to make me back out of the interview. That was the point. And you know how I know that? Because I was on the train and the pain got fucking worse. The pain intensified to the point where these two loud ass people behind me were talking shit. And I know they were perps because they were right behind me screaming their fucking heads off. As I was turning to get my phone in my bag, the pain shot up like wham. And I was like, ah, literally screaming at the top of my lungs because of how much it hurt, right? Now, this couple behind me thought I was going to fucking punch their faces in. And I mean, I was annoyed, but like, no, it wasn't that deep. But like, I was about to reach for my phone, get my headphones on, get all that on. And then all of a sudden, wham, this pain shot up. And it happens every single time I am about to do something significant when it comes to the gang stalking. Every single time. If I'm traveling to fucking, if there's anything that gets too close to me finding out what the gang stalkers did, that's when I get the injuries. That's when that shit happens. When it came to my mum, after I buried my mum, when I was supposed to return home on the 24th, what happened? My hips were debilitated. When I was supposed to go to Somerset to go to that electrosensitivity conference, which is a TI conference in Somerset, pain on the jaw. When I was supposed to go to, go to Devon to interview Barry Trower, which I actually did. I've got the footage, but it's a whole thing. When I went to Somerset to interview Barry Trower, I get my skin fucking lit up when I stay at Pauline's house, right? And now, just before I'm about to interview Pauline, on the way to South London, I get this really bad pain in my shoulder from the time I wake up to like the time I reach back to Harsden. Like that's a full day plus change that I've got that pain in my shoulder. That was deliberate. That was to make sure that I couldn't interview Pauline. That was to try to like have me quit or have me and Pauline fall out. But hear what? Pauline's already been through abuse and I've already been through the torture. And I said to Pauline, listen, I don't give a fuck what kind of pain I'm going through. I'm coming to interview come hell or high water because it's about fucking time that you had your voice heard. So this is the thing. I've already been through physical pain before. I am not as scared as conflict as I used to be. I used to be really afraid of conflict, but now I'm not. So I've been through pain before. I'm less afraid of conflict than I used to be. And then on top of that, Pauline's been tortured too. You saw her injuries. You saw the burns on her legs. You saw the burn on the middle of her head. You saw that shit, right? She understands and she gets it. And then on top of that, when I start getting snappy, she doesn't pick a fight with me. She doesn't pick a fight. Like Pauline is never, in the entire time I've known her, and I've known this woman for years, she has never picked a fight. Even if I'm the one getting snippy, she has never picked a fight. So these gang stalkers were really thinking that me and Pauline would fall out, that I would have an issue with her, that I take issue with her because of what these people are doing. But both me and Pauline, we've been through this shit. So guess what? They weren't going to stop this interview from happening. And because me and her had been talking about it for a few months now, connect the dots. The Logan family have been getting more obnoxious with their noise pollution. That bang on the door. Me needing me to be afraid in a way that I can't come back from. All of that was connected to Pauline. All of that was connected to Pauline and that fucking interview. Even if the Logan family didn't know why they was being asked to step up their efforts, even if they didn't know, and I don't think they did know. I don't think they did know why they were asked to step up their efforts. They would have done anyway because they were sick of being in the wrong all the time. And they were sick of fucking being afraid of everything. So they wanted a way to take back control. So I feel like even if they weren't told to try to frighten me more, they would have done it because they were tired of being themselves. Something had to give, right? But all of that, the reason why they were told to escalate the noise pollution, the reason why they were told to escalate the white supremacist bullshit. And like I said, by the way, the gang stalkers hid within the far right. I told you they would do that shit. I told you they would do that shit. So this whole thing with, joining in with the trolling, this whole thing with escalating the situation, all of that, Pauline's interview, all of it. Because I've been through this shit before. Why have they been asked to escalate it? Why were they asked to escalate the shit? Even my dad's neighbor escalated it to the point where she got caught. Why? All of that it took place within the time that me and Pauline had discussed sitting down and talking together. This shit had been starting since August. My gang stalking has been escalating. So it wasn't even just about it being my time. It was also about the interview that I was doing with Pauline. And all the stuff that she revealed. You understand? And if she was talking shit, then why would the gang stalking need to escalate? Even like, let's just say for argument's sake, because I believe 100% with my whole heart that Pauline's telling the truth. But what if she wasn't? What if this whole thing was a lie and they used all of this to escalate everything behind a lie in a way that they would never have done before? What if they escalated all of this behind a lie? That would have meant that even if Pauline's story was a lie, that trafficking wasn't. That trafficking within gang stalking wasn't. That rape within gang stalking wasn't. That pedophilia within gang stalking wasn't a lie. And they were bragging about it. And imagine having a perp making fun of me for listening to a victim. It's very clear to me that I'm dealing with a very different level of gang stalking now. It is not the same level of gang stalking that I've dealt with before. Nowhere near the same. The stakes are up. The stakes are up. Like it's not the same anymore. The mask is off. Like with the world in general, a lot of people are convincing themselves that, the world is over, or, we're seeing the fall of hierarchy. No, you're not. No, you're fucking not. If you want to compare this world to a woman, quite frankly, I compare it to a man because we live in a patriarchal society. But if you want to compare this world to a woman, this woman would be taking her makeup off, undoing her hair, unhooking her bra, and putting her casual clothes on. That's the type of woman that we're dealing with now in terms of the world. The world is showing her real face. Her real face. This is what the world is doing. The world is showing her real face for the first time in a long time. Far right racism, they're not like, this is the thing that makes me laugh about them. Like with their mouths, they say they're not racist and they say that they're against trafficking, that they're against the grooming of children, but their actions don't match their words. We've literally watched the president of the United States, the leader of the free fucking world, say without pausing that he would pardon 2 major traffickers. of children, women, and even men. Two major traffickers. I'm considering pardoning them. The leader of the free world, everybody. And I bet you any money that's why people hate Trump. Because everything that we thought this world was a fucking lie. Or all of it. Every piece of it was a lie. Beneath what we thought this world was a really dark and ugly underbelly where increasingly hungry blood gods are being fed with more lives, more pain, and more more fucking evil and deviancy. Now we see this world for what it is. And it's not the so-called diversity crew. It's not the so-called it's not the marginalized people or the so-called woke crowd. They're not the problem here. They were never the problem here. The problem was always white supremacy. And this is the world that we've lived in for a long time. The mask is now off. Human trafficking is now damn near becoming mainstream, especially with this push towards the nuclear family, which is basically just fetish in disguise. Do you understand what I'm saying? So trafficking is damn near becoming mainstream at this point. So what did the gangstalkers need to hide for? They don't need to hide. I told you the gangstalkers would win, didn't I? They're winning. Why the fuck do they? Of course they're going to brag to me about what they did to Pauline. Of course they're going to brag about what they've done to people whilst turning around and saying, no, we're not doing that. Of course they're going to do that. They've been doing that shit. How many other presidents do we know that have been connected to these fucking traffickers that we're talking about now, to Diddy and to fucking Ghislaine Scatwell? How many other world leaders have been connected to those two? I guarantee you, Trump and Prince Andrew are not the only ones. But because of the world we're living in, because of the time we're living in, the mask has come off. So now we're seeing the world for what it really is. Now we're seeing the world for what it really is. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And now everybody's starting to understand. This is why people are doubling down and getting angry with each other, because now they're starting to understand the people that they thought they were a lie. If the world you're living in is a lie and was a lie the entire time, if the life you fell in love with was a fucking lie, that means the you that you fell in love with was a fucking lie. But for somebody like me, and I know there are other people that this is happening to too, there are people like me who hated themselves only to find out the person that they hated, that was a fucking lie too. That was a lie. The monster that I was taught to hate, she didn't exist. Didn't exist at all. So, yeah, the mask is coming off, man, with this gang stalking shit. And again, thanks. Oh, hey, Ciara's online. Just like her real quick. So the world that the world has fully unmasked itself now. I'm rambling now. I'm completely rambling. I should cut this video off. But when I was in the cab driving through like all the familiar places to get to West Hampstead, you know, I look at the big houses that I used to really covet as a young kid, you know, because me and my mum used to drive past those houses and say, you know, someday we're going to live in one of those houses. And I did, but just not in the way that I wanted to, right? Now I look past those big houses. I remember the girl that was enslaved in one of them. Now I look into those big houses. I'm thinking how many people have been trafficked and how many people have been hurt for those houses to become a reality for them. Like I just don't see things the same way anymore. I just don't see things the same way anymore. Like, it's just difficult for me to look at anything the same, because like I've been around so many people who have come from wealth, who were married into wealth, you know, or in Pauline's case, come from a very rich family. And all they've ever known is heartache and abuse and, and soulless people surrounding them. That's all they've ever known. And it just really begs the question, if people who have so much are so fucking miserable and lacking in so much dopamine that they need cruelty inflicted on other people to get off, it really begs the question, why are they here? Why are these people even here? What purpose do they fucking serve? Why are these people alive? Why do they need to be alive? Why do slavers need to be alive? Why do human traffickers, vice traffickers, why do they need to be alive? Why should they be alive at all? Why are they here? They're just taking up space. They think they're gods. They think they're gods. They think they're the blood gods that they worship. That's what they think they are. They think they're fucking gods. Like what? Like, and they're still not happy. It doesn't matter how much they take from everyone else or everything else. They are still not happy. They will never be happy. Why are they here? Why? And you know, and it's brings me back to my own gang stalking, because not all of the perps that have dealt with me were blackmailed into it. Some of them already had beautiful lives. They have lives full of love and success and wealth. And they joined gang stalking against me because what they had wasn't enough for them. Because they're fucking hollow on the inside, and they don't realize what hollow, empty, dopamine addicted, cruelty addicted fucks they are. So they joined in with the gang stalking. Even though they already had everything, even though they were already rich, they still joined in. Yeah, yeah. Big truth, babe, big truth. They had everything and it still wasn't enough. That's why everybody's suffering like this. There are some people in this world who the best contribution that they can make in the world is to fucking leave it. Because it doesn't matter how much they get, it's never enough. You could have at least like given something. If you were that bored, you could have given something. You could have devoted more of your life to spirituality in a positive way. But no, you're on this fucking bottomless pit nonsense. Why are you alive? Why are you here? And then on top of that, to have the nerve to brag about rape in front of me. Oh, to have the nerve to use perp mouthpieces to brag about rape. You are on a different level of shit altogether. Imagine. And you're not even just bragging about the rape you did to a tiny, vulnerable woman. You're bragging about the rape you did to her kids? Really? You're bragging about the fact that you promised Freemasonry passes to two of the cruelest people in Pauline's life. You're bragging about the fact that you got these men to do despicable things to her, only for you to renege on your promise, to renege on your promise and not give them those memberships. You're bragging about that. You're bragging about the fact that she went through what she went through for nothing. You're bragging about the fact that her children went through what they went through for nothing. Gang stalking is on a different level now. Fuck these people in front of me, because like they already made up their mind. The only thing they really care about is shame. And that's the only thing they care about. They don't feel guilty for what they've done. They feel ashamed of what they've done. That's a different thing. These people are child's play in comparison to the type of gang stalking I'm going to be dealing with from now on. Child's play. Okay. Ciara says, it's crazy how they would join in and go after someone they don't even know. That's what gets me. But it's like I said before, babe. Some people are blackmailed into it. That's not my problem. I don't like bother sympathize with that. Like that's not my area. It's the people who already have everything that gets me. It's the people that already have everything and feel like they can just play God with other people's lives. That's what gets me. Those are the type of people that get me. Those hollow pieces of fucking garbage. Those are the ones that get me. The ones who, have been able to use their femininity or their masculinity or their likability to get all the relationships that they want, all the money they want, all, the children that they want, all the spouses that they want. They've been able to get dick riders on top of dick riders on top of dick riders. And it's just not enough. It's never enough. They can't function without somebody to feel better than. It's just some people, again, some people's contribution, some people's best contribution to the world, Ciara, is to fucking leave it. That's it. It's as simple as that. And by the way, Ciara Tavares Reyes, I believe she has a YouTube channel. Let me have a look. I'm going to have a look at her YouTube channel now. I want you guys to go onto her YouTube channel because she's also a really good content creator when it comes to targeted individuals. She's one of the best out there, actually. She's one of the smartest targeted individuals that I've ever spoken to. She's one of the smartest ones. I'm going to look for her channel now. I want you guys to look at it. Hold on. I'm going to find it. Have a look, see. I hope it's that. Targeted individual advocate, Deborah Tavares. Okay. Let me just see. Ciara Tavares. I'm so sorry, Ciara. I should know. Yeah. I've actually got my on her YouTube. I actually mentioned her here. Hang on. There was one time where her home was broken into and evidence was stolen. Oh, the video's unavailable, which means her YouTube isn't there. But yeah, I wanted you to check out her YouTube because the last time I looked at it, it was really, really good. Yeah. But yeah, Ciara Tavares Reyes, I'm sorry, baby. I thought you were on YouTube. It's been a while since I actually looked at your profile, and I'm really sorry about that. Should have asked first. But yeah, Ciara Tavares Reyes is an exemplary TI. She's amazing. I can't see much about her at the moment, but let me have a look at see if she's got another channel. Info. Oh yeah, hang on a second. Let me see. No, this is another channel, but it's got one of Ciara's testimonies on here. The YouTube page is called Info Unacknowledged Special Access Program, USAP, right? And it's got a video from Ciara Tavares. Testimony Ciara Tavares 2 is one of the videos. You should catch that. I'm going to link that actually so that you can hear from her about her experiences. On top, again, she's one of the best out there. I think she's on TikTok as well. But again, I'd have to go through her social media and then like show you guys her social media. So, hopefully she's still there. I don't think she's still there yet. Let me have a look at more of her stuff. Ciara Tavares. Okay, Fabi, not you. TikTok, Ciara Tavares. Hold on. Let's see. Don't piss me off. Hold on. I'm just trying to find her page. Hang on, let me just see. See if I can. Let me try again on YouTube. See if I can find her. Ciara Tavares Reyes. Yeah. Yeah, I can't find her right now. I can't find her on YouTube. She might have a TikTok. Let me have a look before I go. I want you guys to really look at her stuff. So I'm gonna at least see if she's on TikTok. Okay, so she's on Instagram under at Ciara Tavares Reyes official. So she's on Instagram. I'm gonna show you. I'll show you guys. Hold on. All right, 1 second. Give me a second here. Oh, that's a lovely shot. That's a lovely angle. Hang on. Allow all cookies. Okay. All right. So we've got Ciara Tavares Reyes official. So that's her on Instagram there. That's one of her profiles. Okay. I think go on this one, but she's got another one actually that's got more posts on it. Okay. She's also under targeted underscore individual 2013. So you can find her here on Instagram as well. Ciara is also on X, so you can find her on X. Fuck Elon Musk for life, but like we're all still on X because of the gangstalking situation. The only way to get justice is to speak out, so we've stayed. Okay, so she's on here too. I'm also on here. Yeah. She had a podcast called Expressions. I don't know if she's still doing that, but those are the three. Those three are a good place to start when coming to find out more about her work and what she does as a targeted individual to pursue justice. So checking out any of those three channels is a good way to show your support for her. Again, she's one of the best out there, so go ahead and follow her. I'm also on Instagram. I'm under Empress Marsha the Great on both YouTube and Instagram now, and on TikTok, Empress Marsha the Great. So if you want to find me, you can find me there. Yeah. As for that, I'm going to go. I'm really tired and hungry. I am going to absolutely big backify myself right now. I've just ordered a takeaway. I'm going to be up to some like extremely big back shenanigans tonight because I need that after the weekend I've had, man. It's like after the weekend I've had and all the shit with gang stalking and all the attempted murder and torture and shit that I've got coming up. Listen, man, I'm about to have myself some fun. Okay. So I love you guys. Peace and blessings. Shout out to Ciara Tavares for joining me and sharing her opinions. Once again, she's on point. So yeah, I love you guys. Peace and blessings. And I will see you in the next one. Mwah. Marsha the Great out.